So Season 2, Episode 1 of Golden Kamuy has arrived, or Episode 13 if we're keeping track like that, and this is a sequel that I've been very much excited for because the first season of Golden Kamuy was such a pleasant surprise. It didn't really try to be one specific anime, it had this absurd element to it, it had this cultural reference, had a treasure hunting main objective, a whole group of wacky and wild main and side characters that just were very distinct from every other character in the season that it aired, which was the spring 2018 anime season. And I just have to say, this episode was the best of Golden Kamuy all in one episode, and it was a great return to greatness. I really like how it actually gave a refresher to past characters that you might have forgotten about, some of those side characters that came in later into the first season. It was nice that they didn't do a recap of the past season, but they did show us where all the characters are at in this episode, so you do remember, oh yeah, there was the fortune teller, oh yeah, there was the escape king, there was all these characters that maybe some you remembered better than others, but it did a really solid job at showing where all these characters are at and where they're going to go in this core of Golden Kamuy, which was a very nice refresher. But a good chunk of this episode was very much focused on the lieutenant, as well as a new character who is a taxidermist. And I have to say, this was a pleasant surprise. Like, at first I was buying into the fact that this taxidermist was just going to be a normal guy, but of course, if the lieutenant's going after him, you know he's probably sick and twisted in his own way, and actually portraying this guy who is so obsessive. He digs up dead bodies, he turned his dead mother into a doll, a stuffed doll that he talks to and says that he can hear her voice, and of course, Lieutenant being someone who's a little insane himself, he's not going to judge the guy, he needs him for his objective. He wants this guy to basically make skin suits that look like the treasure map so he can throw off his competition. Really solid plan. So he's not going to say, hey, you're an absolute lunatic, I'm going to shoot you right here and now. No, he's going to make him shoot his mother. This guy was so interesting because how they were directing this scene, it was very much an unnerving situation. Like, at any moment, the lieutenant could just kill this guy if he feels like he's not going to be useful or he thinks he's a little too insane even for himself. And you have this guy who's just trying to play it cool, like, hey, this glove you're wearing, that's pigskin and shit like that. Like, obviously you knew he was just full of shit because this guy clearly is an absolute lunatic, but just the overall banter between these two characters, it was one of the most interesting interactions I've seen, comparing it to the first core and now with what we have with the second core, because it was the best of Golden Kamuy. You have sick and twisted characters, absurdity, just when they were having this like fashion show of what he was wearing, that was some of the most funny and just over-the-top ridiculous content we've seen in Golden Kamuy, in my honest opinion. That stuff had me laughing out loud. But then you have these scenes which are really tense, really trying to make you feel like, holy hell, like, are these guys gonna be pals? Are they gonna be allies? Is one of them going to kill the other? And I just love how they balance this, because this is what Golden Kamuy is. It's not a funny show, it's not a serious show, it's not a historical show, it's really its own genre. It tries to do a little bit of everything and it really succeeds. And I think the interaction between Lieutenant as well as this taxidermist was really solid because it balanced all the absurdity, all the serious, all the crazy, and all the very just wild sides of this show all in one conversation in the first half of this episode. And I loved it because I really hope this character at least remain relevant as a side character, not get killed off too soon, which I'm going to assume he's going to be at least relevant for a couple more episodes, especially if he's going to be designing these suits that are supposed to throw off Sugimoto and the other characters. But how they made this character feel so distinct from other characters that we saw in the first core, but also make him someone you really want to see more of. Like, I haven't seen a character since the Escape King that I wanted to know more about because of just the personality, the absurdity, but also he's so damn creepy, and I love it because this guy, he acts like a spoiled brat when his new best friend leaves him. He will only take orders for him, and it's just like, this guy's insane, and I absolutely hope we get to see him get pushed over the edge, maybe wear some more of those skin suits, because this guy can be creepy, and he can also just be a little sad depending on the one that he's wearing. It was such an interesting personality, the interactions were fantastic, and I love how tense a situation was, where at one moment you're laughing because it's so funny, and then the next you're like, okay, someone might actually die here, this is absolutely insane. But of course we do get a little bit of a refresher with Sugimoto, all the other characters. Like, it was nice just seeing them. The backgrounds once again were absolutely top notch. The backgrounds might have been more stylistically impressive this episode than what we saw last season. And last season, the backgrounds were some of my favorite points to the show. I love how distinct it was from the actual character models in this series, but also how much visually it popped out from every other anime that I was watching in the spring 2018 anime season, because they didn't overly detail every little object in the background. They made it they had this stylistic charm to it where your brain can fill in the details, and this season I feel like they upped their game. It was so beautiful to look at all these individual shots, especially in the opening sequence. All the characters' designs are once again really fun to look at. It really didn't dip too much in quality except for a few select scenes that really weren't that important because they were really trying to highlight the beauty of the backgrounds. The character personalities are the best that we've seen. Everything that Golden Kamuy has to offer in a positive note was in this episode. The voice acting was over the top and hilarious. The comedy was here, the food, the cooking, the historical charm. Like, this really gave a little bit of everything. So whatever your favorite part of Golden Kamuy is, maybe it wasn't highlighted the most, but you got a little bit of everything that this series showed us in that first season. It was absolutely fun. I can't wait to see where this is going to go. How this kind of like false suits that this guy is going to make is going to play a factor if Sugimoto is going to be able to catch on to the bullshit that's going to be thrown his way, especially if he can master his craft, actually make it look identical to the actual map. That's going to be very interesting to see. I really don't have a major complaint for this episode. This was absolutely fun. It was thrilling. I really hope we get to see more of this taxidermist in the future, but let me know whatever you're feeling down in that comment section below. Where do you think some of these characters are going to go? What did you think of the new character we got introduced to? Whatever you're feeling, let me know down in that comment section below. And be sure to like the video if you did enjoy, and also hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content from me in the future. But until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.